Hello shape enthusiasts and welcome back to another episode of our MAM building series. A series where we figure out step by step how to produce a factory that can take in the shapes and colors and then use circuitry to make any shape that the Vortex company can throw at you. On the last episode, we created this little staging area where we're bringing in all our shapes and colors via train now. And then feeding it into our MAM. We duplicated our single layer MAM into a 2-layer MAM so that we can test how that would look with our staging area and what that expansion might look like when we have 4 platforms for all 4 layers. And we made some pretty good progress, but I think there's definitely more to do with this. I don't really like the belt system here, so maybe we can do something like that. I also spent some time, probably an hour between last episode and this episode, just off camera fixing some minor bugs. I didn't feel like that was too interesting of content, so I didn't want to do a whole episode on just fixing like 4 or 5 bugs, which is how long it actually took me, because as you can imagine, when you're running the MAM, when you're fixing any bugs, you got to let the whole thing run and it takes 5 minutes between each iteration. But I'll just go through what was fixed real quick. There was a belt here that should have been a pipe. They're just really small dumb stuff. The other one I changed was on these recombination platforms. It needed a null check to flush null objects in case it ever switched from something with a layer to no layer. It would just stop these belts instead of sending them off into the trash. In the painting section, I moved this belt down just 1 tile just to get this splitting working a bit better, because it was currently doing a 3-way split, whereas I kind of want to do a 50-50 split then split in there for just some slightly better throughput. Right next door, we had to add a null check here as well when we were checking whether it needs to bypass or get colored, because null objects also need to just bypass into straight through and get chucked out by this trasher. The crystal lanes, they had some major issues. These 3 lanes weren't even connected properly, so I had that connected. Now the crystal bypass is all working properly. But basically all these minor bugs, but they all took freaking ages to find and track down and fix. And then every time I fixed it, I had to wait 5 minutes to test if it's actually working. But as you can see, all the shapes are producing. Now you can notice that they're not producing at 100% efficiency, and this is a bug I couldn't really fix. But basically, from what I observed, my mass is working out perfectly fine, where these fluids, where I'm piping in a half belt of input, should pipe out a full belt of mixed fluid output, but for some reason it's just barely not keeping up. So it's not really a throughput issue. I think to be super safe, we really just need to expand these, like where we're getting a full pipe of 1800 and we're only taking half that pipe into a mixer, which is theoretically all you should need. But in practice, it's just barely not keeping up. If you look at the output of any one of these, it's like 90%. It's not like halfway. So nothing's really throttled anywhere. It's just these dynamic mixing is not 100%. It's like 90% mixed. But anyway, that's not a major issue. I mean, I could spend 3 episodes going through and optimizing all these little things, but for the sake of this series, I'm not going to be doing that. Let's just forge forward with our MAM design. 90% is good enough for all intents and purposes. Maybe we'll come back at the very end and I'll do some optimization episodes, but I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of optimization right now. So let's just get into this episode and decide what we do. I think from looking at my MAM, the pinning is definitely taking up a lot of room and making these belts unnecessarily long. So maybe we should address that while we're doing this staging change. The more I'm looking at these belts, the more I'm not liking the way that this is being delivered, even though it is delivering from this staging area. I do like the way the shapes are coming in like this all in one go. I think that helps the throughput of the input a lot. I just don't like how this is going. So I'm thinking, is there some way we can get these 4 to train into these 4? Because a single train track is a lot easier to deal with than 4 belts, right? You can like jump trains and stuff like that. So I'm thinking of doing that, because what I'm thinking is, if we think about what pins are, basically you can try to think of them as like a 5th base shape, right? So maybe we can do something by putting the pins as like a 5th base shape and then passing it through to select like one of these 4 shapes or a pin, and then we can bypass all of this crazy logic and maybe collapse all of this down and speed up our MAM even more. I don't know. I have to try it. So we will definitely be doing that. I will probably, for the sake, the other thing I don't really like is the way I'm flipping this to share one of these liquid belts. I think we can just not do that. We can just have the liquid belt running out the same side. I think it'll be easier in the long run, but I don't know how all this is going to work because I can't really visualize it without actually making some of these changes. Like I said, all these processes are iterative. You have to like do it wrong before you can look at it and go, I don't like this. I'm going to find a better way to do that, right? So I think for the sake of this episode, maybe I will just delete this. I'm thinking, what do you guys think? Wait, make sure I'm not deleting the wrong layer. I want to get the top layer. That's the top layer. I want the red signals, not the green signals. Let me just check. Yeah, these are the red signals. So I want to delete this one. Doesn't really matter, does it? All right, you know what? I'm just going to delete this one because that one's going out the wrong way. Okay, goodbye this section. Don't worry about it. We will recopy it back in a bit, just temporarily. We'll just delete this so I can much clearly see what I'm going to be doing with these belts. All right, so that's fine. We don't need that. We don't need that. And we don't need that. Let's see what we can do now, guys. So I do like the way these shapes are being delivered. I don't mind that at all because I think it's really fast. But there's no way, I think, to split this into 4. Let's see. So if I have like, say this is unloading and say I have loaders now on the other end, let me just try it. So say this is getting unloaded here and then I immediately like reload it. So say I then reload 4 of these into a new train, right? Let me just cut these belts because we don't need to look at them anymore. Say I want to reload them onto a series of belts to unload them again up here. Basically, this is what I'm wanting to do. Well, I can't unload directly there. I have to unload around here. So we plug it in like this. I want a train to sort of pick it up from here and then go over there. All right, by the way, these can't directly. Oh wait, no, they are directly plugging in. They plug into the back of each other. This seems kind of silly, but these trains, there's no way for them to stop because I want to segregate the functionality of bringing the shapes in to loading them into the MAM as 2 separate processes. So like this is essentially what I want to do, right? I want it to go over here. I need the train to stop here. Let's just put 1 in to see like how much space, etc. that we need. So if I need a train stop, say here, there's no way for that train to then turn, right? So even this is not enough space. I need like 1 more tile. Is that enough space? I don't even think that's enough space. I think I needed to do something like this. So this is basically a new train that's responsible for taking the shapes from here and loading it in. Now, I can't do that, right? And you definitely need a stop here. So if we put in another stop here, you definitely need like this. Once you've done that, you need a train. So something like this with 4 wagons. Let's just test it for 1 to get a concept in our head of how this might work. It's going to wait for the train to come. So that'll pick up my 4 shapes, right? And then it's going to go over here and deliver my 4 shapes. And then that's going to load into there. That's perfectly fine. I think that's better than belts, right? We'll split the staging of the bringing the shapes in and that. But this is not going to do at all because how the hell am I meant to get my next one in? Like there's no way, right? So I think I'm going to need to bring this staging area, like we'll leave that here. But I think I need to bring this staging area somewhere with a bit more room. These trains are delivering such little area that we can just create ourselves a lot of room somewhere, right? If the center line of my MAM is here, then maybe just like maybe somewhere here, right? Nothing major, but maybe a little bit further back, but we need some room to work to get the input staging sorted with the delivery stage to the MAM. And what I mean by that is we need to use some belts. We can't just do it directly here. So maybe this one can go like here, and then that will go to 1 train. Then this one can go like here, and then that will go to another train. So let me grab one of my loaders. We'll build this 1 stage at a time. So this is the loading system that I need, right? So it's something like that. But that doesn't really make sense because we need to flip this to go that way, and that train can just be, say, like here. I don't know how much trains lag the game versus belts, but I imagine running massive amounts of belts everywhere is probably worse than running trains. But who knows, guys? Who knows? This is all a test and learn. So that one can go there to load the second MAM. Where would the train for that one be, though? So I'm just thinking, like, where would this one be then? So maybe this needs to go out to the side of it. Like maybe it needs to do like a little bit of a turn to give space for this side's one. And then we can just mirror it. So if I go like here, I don't want to intercept this train either. Can it just do something like over here? Can I just copy this then maybe? Nope, that doesn't work. I need at least 1 room of space for the train part. I'm just trying to see the best design, guys. Give me a second. Maybe this should just be a little bit further out then. Give it plenty of room. that first train definitely looks good there. This second train is a little bit more questionable and suspect. But let's do the train portion of it first. Let's like run the let's run the train part this way, and then the rail can go like up somewhere like that. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is like still an input, guys, right? So input will still theoretically all be backed up. So if I do that, then can we side load like along here with just one gap of space? I think that looks all right. So if we grab these and load them into this one, this is turning into like central station. Yep, I think that looks fine. That's our second train. I don't think they need to be on different lines because there's only one line on each rail. Each one of these rails will then route into one section of the MAM, right? So in theory, I should just be able to copy this whole thing and then just give it a flip and put it here and run this train over here. And then this should plug into like 4 different sections of our MAM, right? So that will plug into the thing. And if this is the second layout, then sure, we'll just take the train line from the second layout. Let's get rid of this stuff and let's just run the train line across here. How do we run the train line across here? Because this is crossing another train line. I'm just trying to decide which one should jump. These can jump, but I think this rail is too long to jump over. Yeah, that's too long to jump over. So one of these has to dip either the color belt or the rail. It doesn't really matter for now. Let's just dip the color belts. What's the one with the least amount of dip? If I dip this, get this train hopping. Does the train launcher slow things down, guys? I'm not sure. Look at that, how awesome that is. The train launcher can literally just launch one tile. Like, this is what I want for all my belt launchers. I don't know why they've done it for the train launcher, but they've made all the belt launchers fixed distance. So basically we want that, right? Let's just test on one to see if it's all working. I'm going to go back to my single layer MAM now, since I'm redoing the design for the pins. So I'm going to need to copy over, but that looks like it's working. So it is now delivering this by train, and one train should be more than enough to deliver all the cargo on such a short distance, right? It's just bringing in new cargo. Once that all buffers, and it should be fine. We'll figure out throughput later. It's out of scope. Let's just get functionality down. If my MAM is a little bit slow, that's fine. It still functions. It's just a slow MAM. So these trains are all functioning. Oh, what is happening here? It's so long that, does that block things? I don't think it blocks things, right? It's like launching, but then kind of stuck. It doesn't seem to affect anything. That's fine. We'll leave that for now. That's the liquid coming in. The liquid needs to keep traveling that way for the second MAM. Now, about the pins. That's the other question about how I'm going to do the pins. So I think the pins are going to need to be their own separate rail. And I'm thinking, because we have the room here, why can't we get the pins to fall behind the rest of this stuff? So like here would be pins, pins, pins. We'll add the pins using their own separate rails somehow. Now, I think the next thing to talk about is about these pins. I'm wondering, is there a better order of operations to do this in rather than getting our full quarter shape and then checking, is it a quarter shape or a pin? If we treat the pin as like a fifth shape, would it work exactly the same way? So at the moment, we're doing dumb stuff, right? We're doing things like we're making the pin, then we're quartering the pin. And then we're bringing 4 belts of quarter pins all the way into our MAM. Then we're going through here and it's checking like, do any of these quarters need a pin? And then it's coming through and merging with that belt of quarter shapes to see if it's doing stuff. That is definitely not the best way to do it. But let's visualize what would happen to the pins if we treated it like a full shape. So imagine we were bringing in a full 12 belt space belt of pins here as a full shape. And if we take it through this same process that we've got here, would that work? So this thing would check, like say these were pins. This thing would check, is my top right a pin? Then if it is, it will let this belt of three lane section of pins through as a full pin shape. It would go through here, go through here, go through here as a full pin shape. And then it will go through here and it will come to the painting array, and the painting array will go, am I colored? But a pin is never colored, so in theory it should just bypass into our quarterer, and then this should turn it back into a full belt of quarter pins, and then it just goes through the same, is that a rotation process? Well, it goes through the same junking process as that, and then it goes through the rotation process, and then that should be that, right? In theory, I don't know. Let me try it. It's very hard to visualize these things, so why don't we take a copy of this and just bring it down here. then we probably need to take a copy of this everywhere like that. Does that work? All right, let me do that. Let me do this and I'll just cut to when this is done. So this will be our pin checker now, right? So I've routed it and it should just work the same way, but this will basically go, is it a pin? Because pins are coming through here. It would still go through this stacking process to turn a quarter pin into a full pin, right? And then full pins are coming through here. So maybe I can just belt in some full pins to test with. Instead of this crazy quartering process, I got full pins coming in here, do I not? Oh, the quartering process destroys the pins. Oh, okay, so it's slightly different. We might need to change the pin creation process. So I think there was a better way to create pins. Someone taught me this. Let me see if I can figure it out to create a full pin shape instead of this quarter pin shape. Let's see if we can't figure it out. Now, credit where credit is due. I did not think of this, and I think the person that commented says he's the only one that was doing it this way, which I thought was really cool. But essentially, before we crystallize, what are we crystallizing at the moment? This half shape, and then creating like 2 crystal layers, and then making a full crystal layer. Basically, what we want is a full shape that we can pin. So let's go somewhere else. Oh, maybe we'll just start again, because we're going to need to do this process 4 times, right? Because we're going to need 4 sets of pins for our 4 layers. So why don't we just start again, so I can have a clear idea. I just want a full shape next to a color, preferably something really close. I don't mind if it's far away from the base because we're training all this in now. Doesn't matter what full shape, doesn't matter what color, but I want the color patch to be like a little bit big, because it is for crystallizing. I think over here will do. I've got a full star here. So let's grab some shapes, grab some colors, and let's give it a go. So basically what he said to do was just grab a full shape, and then in our thing, we just pin push it a few times to get a full stack of pins, right? And this will just be a full stack of pins. Yeah, look at that. And then we just crystallize this shape. What's that going to give us? It's going to give us a full stack of crystals, right? So let's just try that. Grab a couple of fluid extractors for the crystallizing process. We'll bring our crystallizer in. I don't think that's on my toolbar, but my crystal maker over here needs to be rotated. Shape goes in there, that goes in there. Now let's see what this gives us. That should give us a full stack of crystals. Then I believe we just pin up the crystals, and then we just need to destroy the crystals somehow. How do we destroy the crystals very easily? If we pin push the crystals, we're going to have a layer of pins underneath and then 3 layers of crystals on top. Do we just need to like cut it and then piece it back together to get rid of the crystals? Or we can like drop it on something? No, we can't drop it on something. I believe we just need to cut it and piece it back together. Is that how it works? That's kind of annoying. I don't have a blueprint that does that, does it? Oh, I kind of do. Don't I have in my blueprints a cutting 1 to 2? This cuts it and should give me 2 identical shapes back out. And then I should just be able to like stack this, right? With a stacker. If this works, it'll be hilarious. What the heck? Is this my new single layer pin maker? Let's put a bin on the end, and then I'll just let it run and we'll see what crazy contraption comes out the other end here. So yeah, full layer of pins is coming in. You gotta wait a bit for the blue to come in. All right, we're back, guys. Let's have a look. The blue's here now. So we're getting a full 4 stack of pins in here, right? And then it's going through the crystallization process, which just gives us a full layer of crystals. Excellent. Then we're pinning up that full layer of crystals. Are we pinning it up? We are not pinning it up. We're just going through the half destroying process. Silly. Let's get that pinned up first. And that is on my blueprint thing. So that's the pinning thing. So yeah, we're going to pin that up. Wait a minute. What? Pinning it up destroys all 4 crystals at the same time. I don't even need this stacking and craziness. Is this just giving me the shape that I want? Let me capture one of these and take a closer look. What the heck? All right. I'm sorry. I don't have your name off the top of my head in the comment section. I really need to get better at attributing credit to my viewers, but you know who you are. It was in my pinning video. You suggested this process, and it is absolutely amazing. Look at this. Guys, let's see if this is a full output of pins. Look at that. That is just a full output of pins. Well, to feed my layer, my MAM, I'm going to need 4 of these. So let me just quickly go and build that. I mean, I can just build it all here, right? So basically that, or with the crystallizer, and I just need to find the colors for it. So I might fast forward this, or I might not. I don't know. Okay, maybe I will fast forward through this. I think that is working now. I'm getting some pins coming out from places. We'll have to let that throughput test for a bit, but definitely I think that if this works, it should satisfy all my pin requirements for all 4 MAM sections, right? And it's doing it in a much better form factor than I was doing before, and it's going to require a lot less input. So while that's doing it, let me just suss out how I'm going to do the trains. So we're going to need to put this into our train staging system. So basically it's going to be like 4 cargo loaders. This will have to be its own delivery system, right guys? Because if you look at my main delivery system, it's already using all 4 rail colors to deliver these belts of shapes. So there's no way it's going to share a belt of shapes, but we can pretty much figure out would just be a separate train line, right? And I think that also just segregates it, makes it a little bit easier. So let me put in my train for that. It can just be red, it doesn't really matter. We'll get our shape wagons going. 1, 2, 3, 4 wagons. We need a stop on this end, and then the train line needs to go back home. Where is home? So yeah, like I can't tack it onto this rail because there's not enough signaling in the game. So we'll just give it a little bit of segregation. And it can come in here, and then we can do the staging for it somewhere else, like maybe underneath, like this. I don't know, like this maybe, and then we'll unload with 4 cargo loaders. Like where's my center line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like the center, right? So we'll center it. Why not? Give it a flip, rotate, and I believe that's the center line. That looks centered to me. And this will be our pins, right? And then we'll get a train stop here, and that should buffer pins. Now we got our pins coming in. Let's just check if the bins are all working. That looks like a full output lane or almost. That looks like a full one. That looks like a full one. That looks like a full one. Yep, I believe we've got 4 full ones. I think this one was the one I just recently cut, so it's still saturating. But once it saturates, I believe they're all full. That's 4 full belts of pins that'll satisfy all 4 of our MAM sections. So let's get that belted into our cargo loaders and let this train buffer the pins while we figure out this section over here. So given that the pins are going to be here and the pins are going to come in here, does it make sense that this is just another 5th section, and then our cargo train over here should just be 5 tiles long, and then maybe somehow we can fit in the pins like there? Like we can definitely do it for this one, but how would we get the pins over here? Because there's like, I need to belt them into there, but how would I belt them into there? Interesting question, interesting question. Let me try some stuff. I'll probably fast forward this if it takes too long, but I'm thinking, what if we do something like that underneath? Then it can come in above it. No, it can't do that, can it? Alright guys, I think I'm going to go with this design. We've created ourselves a little bit of spaghetti again, a little bit of train spaghetti, but like I always say, a little bit of spaghetti in your diet isn't always that bad for you. You just don't want to overdo it. So this looks like it's fine, and it's now loading in pins. So we need to get these pins functional, right? So maybe I need a pin test shape. What channel is this section receiving on? It's receiving on green. So I need a shape with the green layer, the second layer, to be thingo. So let's go back to our brain. This layer needs to be overridden with a test shape with pins. So basically I want this shape, but we basically want this shape, and we want to just chuck in like a couple of pins somewhere. Let's just chuck in pins like here. I think that's the second layer. No, I think I changed it on the top layer. So let's just put that in. So yeah, this is the layer. Pin. See how that rocks our MAM, and see if it can handle it. So now the bottom layer is pinned, I believe. You can't really see it, but I'm pretty sure underneath is the pin. Alright, I didn't do the toggle. Yep, there we go. This is the shape that it's going to try to create now. It's got 2 pins. Let's see if this thing can work, and we'll just debug and troubleshoot as we always do. So we definitely have pins coming in, and then this thing is trying to create, this is the top right, and it's trying to take circles, right? Yep, so pins will continue to travel through. Yeah, 2 lanes of pins are moving, 2 lanes are blocked. So this is blocked. Then this thing will is trying to get circle. So circle should be flowing. Why is circle not flowing? It is flowing. It's just backed up somewhere else. So don't worry about that. Then we got pins coming in here. This one is a pin. So pins are flowing through. Now we got pins coming out here after a while. It looks like it. Then the bottom left of this shape was a crystal. Is it a crystal? All right, hold on 1 second. I need to go back to my home and grab the shape that I'm trying to do. Yeah, it is a crystal. But our thing handles crystals fine, right? Let me just take this shape and then we'll just change this one so that I know what I'm trying to produce. So yeah, that's a crystal in the bottom right, and then the bottom left, and then on the bottom right is another pin. So this is going, yep, I want my full thing of pins coming through. Now let's see where these pins actually end up going. Let's trace through our logic. Always good to trace through our logic. So this pin is going through the bypass, yep, because it has no color, and then it's getting quartered, and then we're getting a full belt of pins coming out. Lovely. And then our full belt of pins is going through our trashing mechanism. So our trashing mechanism might not be cutting it anymore, because why? It's not letting it through. These trash things are always being super annoying. So what is this trash thing doing? It's saying, is that shape? And then it's trying to paint it with this thing. So maybe we need better logic. So instead of trying to paint the quarter shape, maybe we need to do the same cutting mechanism to go, is that the quarter shape I want? So we might need to upgrade this logic to make it work with pins, because obviously you can't paint a pin signal, right? Is there an easier way to do this? Because before this platform assumed you're always getting some sort of painted shape. It didn't have to deal with crystals or pins before, because if it was crystals, it was just a null belt, but now it's not the case anymore. So let's just redo some of the logic on this trashing platform to allow it to handle pins. That would be the next step, right? So we'll grab our wire, let's grab our output. So this is our outputting our full shape. To get the, we should probably put some labels on these platforms too, but it's basically the bottom right? Upgrade everything one step at a time. So the bottom right is a pin. So let's just cut. Why don't we just cut and then check? We have to quarter it, so we need to destroy this half, and then we'll just do it every step of the way. So if we destroy this half, then we only got that half, and then to get the bottom right, we need to rotate 3 times and then destroy again. So we need our rotator. And I was thinking, is there a setting? Look, someone told me about this equal sign thing. Check this out, guys. If you didn't know this already, in your wire logic gates, for the equals, it's actually adjustable over here. You can make it just not equal to, oh man. But I was checking this. Can this do like counterclockwise rotation? No, it can't. Someone should add that setting in there. So anyway, we rotate this, we destroy the part we don't want again, and that should give us the thing that we want to check for. And now it needs to go to the bottom right, so it needs one more adjusting rotation like that, and that will be the shape that we check for. Oh, but it's not rotated yet, so that's the rotator. So we don't need to do this extra rotation step. We just need to check, is it a pin? So that should be the shape that we're checking for. I need comments, guys. I need like you know how like in code you can do like / or -- to like add comment sections. Like I need that, but without having to do like 10 labels. It'd be like unrotated shape check here. But yeah, that's the bottom right check. This same logic needs to apply for everything. So let's go through that same, I'm just going to go through that same exercise, and then I'm going to fast forward for you guys. Alright guys, we're back. I think I fixed that. I think there might need to be at some point the double knot signal again to deal with blank bypass, but to trash blank shapes. But look, that's just minor optimization stuff. Let's carry on, continue to figure out if this pin thing is working. So now that I've got my pins, it's going through the bottom right, bottom left stacking process, and it is passing through that. And then it's going up to this section and going through the combinator finally, I think is fine, but there might be some minor issues. Or is it just waiting for the shape to come out? That does not look like anything to do with my shape. And then it should be going through the crystallizing process at some point, slowly. It's definitely getting there. I think we just have to let this run for a while to see what's going on. All right, let's try to troubleshoot the bottom right and the bottom left. So the bottom right is a pin, the bottom left is a nothing. So it's going through here and it's going through the bypass and it's just a bunch of pins. Great, so that's the bottom half, which is fine. Then this is going to be the top right and top left, and the top right is fine. It is checking the same thing. Then it's going to check through this. Actually, you know what? My trashing platform was actually these trashing platforms. They're exactly the same now. Do I even need trashing here? I guess, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm redundantly trashing now and creating more bugs. I feel like I'm stuck in that cycle of where you fix one bug and then it causes like 10 more bugs. But yeah, that definitely looks like the top right to me. And then it's going in through here. And then I think this lane, why is this lane completely blank? No, it's not completely blank. It's fine. That's coming through. That's coming through. That's coming through. And then it's going through the crystallizing process. And I believe it will slowly start producing the output shape that I need. Can't really see. All right. This shape is impossible, guys, because obviously when you crystallize this shape, it's going to create 3/4 of pins. But anyway, that's fine. Probably should have removed the crystal layer. Maybe I'll do that and just let it run to see if it all works before we copy everything over. Let me just do some testing. I'll skip over all the testing for you guys at home, so that's fine. I don't want crystal. Let's just do like square red. We'll test one with a color as well, right? So it's got a red square layout now and 2 pins. That's all it's trying to make. Let's see if it can do that. We'll give it 5 minutes and we'll see if it's bypassing all the crystals and going through all that. Oh, actually, while we're doing that test, let's test it with a null layer as well. Because I want to see if my trashing system works too. But anyway, I'm going to fast forward through all this testing for you guys. You don't have to worry. I do all the hard work, so you don't have to. Yay. Alright, I'm back, guys, and we can see that that is definitely able to now create pin shapes. I'm sure there's still a lot of bugs in the system, but that's all part of the process, guys. Fixing bugs. Every time you make a little change, you create new bugs. Every time you fix a bug, you create 3 more bugs. So that is the cycle of software development. And we are adhering to that very well at the moment, I think. But what is the advantage of doing all that pinning process? Well, let's reap the benefits that we just created for ourselves, which is deleting this crap. Look at that. That's all gone now. And we can now collapse this all in. So let me just quickly do that. I'm going to need to do a bit of work with these things, and then I'm going to need to test it again. So bear with me. I will fast forward through all this as usual, but you can sort of see where I'm going with this, guys, right? This can all be now shrunk in a little bit, and that's why I deleted this other half of the MAM, because I knew all of these staging train changes are going to cause a lot of changes to the actual MAM system itself. All right, let me quickly do this and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Our MAM is more compact than ever. I love it. You know, sometimes I think I could probably shrink this down into like a 2x1 and then make it even more compact, but man, we could optimize forever, right? I could make this series go on for like 40 episodes doing optimization. I don't know if you guys want to watch that. But yeah, I think I'm happy with it now. I'll just leave it on for testing for a little bit to make sure that crunching process didn't break anything stupid before I copy it over, and then we can see if it works with 2 platforms. Now we just need to connect one of these rails with this little system that we've created, and that should get all our shape inputs and all our color inputs in to the layer. Now I just need to go and change all those damn things. Oh, you know what I should have fixed before I did all that? I should have gotten rid of this little duplication over here. Let me quickly do that before I yeah, I'll fast forward through all this, but basically you see how we've added a thing here. We don't need this signal processing happening twice, right? We can just do the same thing we did here. Alright guys, we are back. It looks like our MAM is currently working. and producing shapes at probably 80-90% efficiency. So probably a good place to call it the end of an episode. We've basically upgraded it to make it able to support 4 sections, 4 layers very easily. You can see we've got these 2 extra trains and this extra 2 color belts ready to go when we duplicate it out for 4 layers, but we'll stick to 2 layers while we do stacking for now. We got our pins in. We got our pins in a lot cleaner and cleaned up that whole pinning section. The pins are the 5th shape, guys. That was the key sort of breakthrough thought that I had to have for all of this to work, but I think it's good progress. You'll find as the complexity of a system increases, no matter whether you're working on like a software design project or a piece of artwork or whatever, every time you want to add something new to a really complex system, it becomes harder and harder to add new things or even modify existing things. You have to go through all these different testing processes like regression testing to make sure the new thing you added hasn't broken the old system and all the other old processes that are all intertwined and crazy now. So unfortunately, each hour-long episode now probably won't get through as much, you know, new content, but that's just the nature of a complex design project, guys. I mean, we just got to make slow iterative improvements until we get there, and be assured we are getting there. We are definitely getting there. Look, we've got our first layer thing producing like 3 times faster than what we had like 3 episodes ago, easily duplicatable to a second layer. We fixed all of our input problems, so we don't have shapes belting in from all over the map which can't be expanded upon. Now we have a very easily extensible system where we've separated the shape input from the shape loading. So if we need more throughput on these shapes, we can always easily extend more throughput on the shapes by adding more trains, or like adding a second, you know, finding another circle and tacking it onto this circle or something like that, right? But basically, we have a lot of options is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, we can definitely get to the end of the MAM pretty easily. I see a pretty clear path forward. So next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to take this underneath layer, we're going to belt it over to the top layer. We have to stack it before it goes into the crystallizing process, and then we should have our first 2-layer shapes out. We'll then let the MAM run until there's a shape it can't deal with, and then we will bug troubleshoot accordingly. Then we will it'll probably give us 3-layer and 4-layer shapes, and we'll just keep we'll keep expanding our MAM to handle whatever the game throws at us. That's pretty much the name of the game, right guys? Alright guys, we'll call it probably the end of this episode. I hope you have been enjoying our little journey of building a full-blown MAM. We've kind of grown it from a tiny little baby MAM selecting, you know, shapes to this full complex system that's now creating 2 layers of the MAM. It has definitely been a long journey, and if you don't want to miss out on future episodes, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, I had a little thought for people that have made it this far into the episode, my loyal viewers. If you guys are interested in me creating a Discord for our little community, I believe I have like 1,000 subs now, but if you guys are interested in a little Discord where maybe you can chat to me, like I can't promise I'll be on the Discord all the time because I do have a full-time job, so I probably won't be on 9 to 5 Australia hours, but like after hours when I'm not recording, I can come and chill with you guys and chat. You guys can chat with each other about how dumb I am, you know, all those fun things. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'm not good at Discord, so I'd have to like learn all this stuff, but I don't mind if it's something people are actually interested in and would like, you know, to just hang out with the other people watching my videos. But let me know. Let's see, how can you guys let me know this? If this video gets, say, 300 more likes than my other videos, then I will take it as a sign you guys have seen this message and you've hit the like button and you're interested in Discord. I usually get like, what, 100 likes per video or something like that. So if this video gets to like 500 likes, then that'll be like an indicator for me to go, all right, you guys want a Discord page. All right, thanks for that. Anyway, I'll see you guys next episode. Have a good one.